Good day, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's economics lesson. My name is Mr. Berry. This lesson is brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Education in collaboration with Pagama Research and Development. Good day again, grade 12. Our knowledge area for today will be focusing on your microeconomics and economic issues as we prepare for our paper 2, November final exam. By the end of the lesson, learners should be able to answer their paper 2 final examination paper. So we are going to use the previous question paper to try and answer possible questions that we may find in our paper. This is our assessment plan for 2024. On your paper 2, you have 2 main topics and 6 subtopics. The 2 main topics, that is your microeconomics and your economic issues. From microeconomics, we have 3 subtopics, which is your perfect competition, imperfect competition, and the market failure. Then on your economic issues, there are 3 subtopics as well. There's inflation, there's tourism, and environmental sustainability. So these are the 6 subtopics that you need to know prior to you writing your exam. So you need to revise on the 6 units and on the content of the 6 units for you to say you are ready and you are confident to write your examination. So this is the structure of the paper. By now you know that you are writing out of 150. You are writing 2 papers. You write paper 1, paper 2. Both of the papers is 2 hours. They are divided in 3 sections. Section A, B, C. A being your compulsory question, where you have the multiple choice, matching columns, and the terminology. That is out of 30 marks. Then on section B, you have 3 questions. Each of them is carrying 40 marks. The first one, question 2, is 40 marks from the microeconomics. The third one, question 3, it is your economic issues for 40 marks, and then question 4 is a mixture of 2. So from these 3, we only choosing 2 questions to answer. Then section C, you have question 5 and 6. 5 is the microeconomics and 6 is your economic issues. You also choose only 1 there. Then it will make 150 marks when you add the 30, 80, and 40. Right, so this is how our questions will look like. Section A, 30 marks. Section B, 40 each for 80 marks. And then section C, you answer 1 for 40 marks. Right, so these are our dates for paper 2 that we are preparing for. We are writing it on the 19th of November in the afternoon. Right, so our game plan, where do we start when we prepare? Firstly, you need to look at your content, use your previous question paper, read until you understand, be able to answer questions that are not directly from the question paper, be able to structure answers for questions like where you have to think your moderate to higher question, where you are asked how the effect of, if you are using the previous question paper, you'll get used to answering those. However, if it is difficult, there are easy marks that you can score in economics, where you are describing, you are listing, you are writing the headings of essay, you're scoring yourself marks. So we're going to answer our section A because it is compulsory for 30 marks. For you to plan for this, use your study guides, your previous question paper, use the mind gap if you have for the terms at the beginning of every unit. Use your previous question paper. You'll be surprised that the questions are not changing. They usually come more similar from the previous year. Then section B, we're going to plan either if we understand the microeconomics, question 2 is our question. When you understand microeconomics, it means you have mastered the markets, perfect markets, imperfect markets, and the market failure. Or you can answer question 3 if you have mastered the issues, inflation, tourism, and environment, then you answer with 4. Remember, if you come already having a plan of answering 3 and 4, it becomes easier because you have mastered the economic issues. Then there are people who have mastered both the main topics. Then it means you are going to look at the questions that are there. Your 8-mark questions are going to guide you where you're going to score more marks. Then when it comes to section C, we can look at question 6, which is an essay that comes from the economic issues. We've listed few times those essays as per priority, where we are having your discuss in details and measures to combat inflation, discuss in details international problems and measures for sustainable development, discuss in detail benefit for tourism, and then the 3 others. Remember, we have 6 essays that we need to know for us to prepare to answer question number 6. Right, so we're going to move straight to your section A questions. Then I'm going to give you some time. You're going to read, and then after reading, you are going to eliminate those ones that are wrong so that you can have the most correct answer there. So grade 12, you are going to be given about 10 minutes to do 1.1 from 1.1.1 to 1.1.8. Then we're looking at the marking guideline and the possible answers there. Right, grade 12, we are done. Let's look at our possible answers. First one, 1.1, a measure used by government to discourage production and consumption of demerit goods, that is your excess duty or sin tax. So for them to reduce the consumption of demerit goods like cigarettes, alcohol, they will charge excess duties, right? So if you understand why are we charging this type of taxes, then you know that these ones are not correct for that. Ad valorem is charged on imported goods that are of luxurious goods, and then you have custom duties, your custom taxes, and then these are charged on importing goods as well. Then you have your progressive tax. This is charged when a person is getting an income. It's charged directly from an income that you are receiving as a worker, for an example. Number 2, brand loyalty takes place in which market? So brand loyalty, it means that we are using the non-price competition. Which market uses the non-price competition? It is monopolistical competitive market. And also your oligopoly is not there. So monopoly, they are unique, so they don't have to use brand loyalty. And then informal sectors, we're talking about something else. Perfect market, they are exactly the same, so we don't have to have brand loyalty because they are selling homogeneous product. Number 3, the point where the total revenue is equal to the total cost in a perfect market is known as what? Right, where TR is equal to TC, that is your break-even point. Social cost consists of the private cost and what? The social cost, for us to get the social cost, is the private cost and the external cost. For us to get a social benefit, it is a private benefit plus the external benefit. Then you get your social benefit. Number 5, complementing generation capacity at Eskom with solar power is important for tourism as part of what? So electricity is what? Infrastructure. That is energy infrastructure. Remember, we need our key infrastructure. Our key infrastructure being communication, energy, and transport. So electricity is part of the energy infrastructure. Number 6, a condition of low growth, high inflation, and high unemployment is known as what? That is a stagflation. Deflation is a general decrease in price. Inflation targeting is the target that is set by the Reserve Bank that inflation should be between 3 to 6%. Hyperinflation is what we call a runaway inflation. Inflation that increases by 50% and more every month. So the stagflation is when there's low growth, high inflation, and a high unemployment that can result in a stagnation. 1.1.7, one of the fiscal measures used to combat inflation is taxation. Taxation is a fiscal measure. Remember, on fiscal is the Minister of Finance doing the fiscal policy. Recently, the Minister of Finance did the medium-term budget policy. statement that was on the 30th of October. So when the Minister of Finance was presenting there, he was talking about the government expenditure and the taxation. How are they going to use the revenue collected? Giving us an idea of what happened in February, the main budget, and then what changes has occurred throughout the year until October. Then these other ones are used by who? The open transaction, interest rate, moral suasion. Who's using these instruments? Right? If you've said the governor at the Reserve Bank, you are correct. The governor at the Reserve Bank uses the open monetary policy. They use open market transaction, interest rate, moral suasion, cash reserve requirement, and others. Let's look at the last one. Method that focuses on environmental impact to ensure environmental sustainability are called what? So under environmental sustainability, we have what we call a command and control, C&C, a command and control. Under command and control, you have the quantity standard, the quality standard, and the social impact standard. So we have these three standards. Three of them are focusing in different things, right? The quantity will be looking how much pollution you are creating. The social impact standard, how are you impacting people living around that society, the people living around the society. Then the quality, it measures, it focuses on the environmental impact, right? Affected. What is the environmental impact that is there? It's called what? As a quality standard. They look at what are you producing that is polluting the environment, right? And then the quantity, how much, and then the social, how are you affecting people living around that area, right? So you've scored yourself out of 16. You can check how much you got out of 16. Remember, the first 4 is from the microeconomics. The last 4 is from your economic issues. You can tell which unit are you scoring more from this section A, right? We'll move to section B questions, right? So we're going to look at those questions where we say it's easy to score mark from, right? Your 2.1.1, for example, you are always asked to list, to give, to name to, right? You just need to remember. So give 2 examples of explicit cost, right? So in economics, we have 2 costs. You have, for us to get the total cost, let's forget about the fixed and the variable cost. We need to have explicit cost, your explicit plus implicit cost, right? So there are 2 types of cost that we have. That's why in economics, when the total revenue is equals to the total cost, we say we are having a normal profit, meaning it's enough profit to keep the business going. You don't have to shut down even though the revenue is cost to the cost. Why? Because this cost, it includes both explicit and implicit. Explicit being the actual cost that you are spending when you are producing, when you buy the raw material, when you're paying for rent. Those are called explicit costs. Then you have the implicit costs. These are the opportunity costs, those costs that you have forgone for you to do this project. So let's look at an implicit cost example. So you decide to start selling, you open a tuck shop at home, right? So there's a garage, there's no car, so you decide to use the garage to open a tuck shop. So your explicit cost will be what? Buying shelves, so that you can install shelves in your garage, buying of stock. That is all your explicit cost, is the cost that goes towards the business, right? And then the implicit cost will be the cost that you have given up, right? So for example, that garage, you could have used it to rent it out to somebody that was going to pay about 1.5 a month. So that money is a revenue that you're supposed to get. Now you have given up that revenue. So we are going to calculate it as a cost now. It's no longer a revenue because monthly you're not going to get that 1.5 because you are using the garage now yourself. So no one is going to pay you that 1.5. So that 1.5 become what? An opportunity cost, is the cost that you have given up for you to do what? This business. Because you're supposed to get a certain revenue, no more revenue. It becomes, if it's not a revenue, it's a cost for you. So in economics, you don't look at the actual money we spend. we also look at the money we could have received. So if you're not receiving that money, you change it, it becomes an expense to you because you are not receiving it. Right? So if you're not receiving it and you're supposed to receive it, then it becomes what? An expense. Another explicit cost could be if you are not running the stock shop, you could have gotten a job, maybe a part-time job at a restaurant, and they were going to pay you 2.5 monthly. Now, the time that you were supposed to go to the restaurant and work, you are using the time to do what? To sell for yourself. You are going to calculate that amount 2.5 as your implicit cost, the cost that you have forgone, opportunity cost. It was a revenue, but now you are no longer going to receive it. You change it, you make it a cost. So that is the difference between the explicit cost and the implicit cost. So this one is asking, for example, of explicit cost. I've mentioned a few and I think we are catching on. Right, so rent, interest, wages, those can be direct expenses to your business, raw material, right? Whatever, it depends on what you are selling actually. That will be what your direct cost in the business. Right, let's look at 2.2. 2.2, we have 2.2.1 to 2.2.3. 2.2.1, you are identifying the quantity where business will maximize a profit. So you're going to come here. You look at the quantities, where are we going to maximize profit? Which type of profit is made here? Look at this. Which profit are we making? You need to look at your AR and AC to tell us which profit are we making. Briefly describe the term monopoly. What is monopoly? So grade 12, I'll give you 5 minutes to quickly complete this task. Then we look at your answers. Thank you so much. Grade 12, your time is up. Let's look at your possible answers. Identify the quantity where the business will maximize profit. Right, look at 20. Nope. 40. Remember, where we maximize profit is where MR is equals to MC. Right, you look at 40, MC, MR. MR is equals to MC. This is where we maximize profit, not here, right? Because AR here is equal to nothing here, and then this one also, but here MC is equal to MR. This is where we are going to produce. We are going to get more profit from producing 40 as compared to 20 and 60, right? Look at this one. You go straight. This is what your MR and MC. After that, you look at your average revenue. It's here. This is the average revenue, right, for selling 40 items. And then you look at the cost. It touches the cost as well. So your revenues cost to your cost. When you look at 20, your revenues here, the costs are up there. So the costs are more than. When you look at 60, the revenue here, the cost is up there, meaning you're going to make a loss. So the proper way for you to maximize profit is to produce at 40. Which type of profit is made here? Grade 12's on our examination guideline, monopoly, we don't have a graph where they are making a normal profit. However, when you look at this one, there is a normal profit. It is possible. So you look at this, AR is cost to AC, and then they're both touching here. You know that it's a normal profit. All right, so the profit that is there is a normal profit. If the AC was inside, right? If the AC was inside, it was going to be economic profit. If the AC was up, it was going to be economic loss, right? So what is guiding us here is the AC. If the AC touches AR, normal profit. If the AC is above AR, economic loss. If the AC is below AR, economic profit. That's how you get to see this type of profits. Briefly describe the term monopoly. It is a market structure consisting of one seller of a unique product with no close substitute. Anything that is relevant and describing this, you may raise your hand to check if you are in the right path. Right, let's go to 2.3. You look at the cartoon on the side and then you look at the question 2.3.1. Identify nature of product sold in the market structure on the side. What? So you're going to identify the nature of the product. So you see there's a lot of restaurants there. Already you can see that it's monopolistic happening. What are monopolistic selling? Then that is your answer. What type of profit is made by the monopolistic competition in the long run? Briefly describe the term non-price competition. Right, grade 12, 5 minutes, then remark. Right, let's look at your possible answers on the marking guideline. Identify the nature of products sold in the market structure above. You see restaurants, and that is a monopolistic. Monopolistic is a market structure with so many businesses selling differentiated product. Unlike a perfect market, it's a market structure with so many sellers selling homogeneous product. Monopolistic is a market structure with many sellers as well, but they are selling differentiated product. You can tell the difference between pizza at Panarotis and pizza at Debonair's. That is differentiated. They are both selling pizza, but you can differentiate their product. What type of profit, what type of profit is made by the monopolistic competition in the long run? So just like a perfect market, a monopolistic makes what in the long run? It makes a normal profit. Why are they not making economic profit or economic loss in the long run? Just like a perfect market, there is a free entry in this market. If they are making economic profit, people may be aware of the profit that they are enjoying. They are enjoying a super abnormal profit. Then people will enter the market. That will shift the supply curve to the right, meaning the supply will increase. When the supply increases, what happens? Then the price will drop, and then they will make a normal profit. If they are making a loss, when there's a free entry, there's free exit. When there's a loss, some business may not stand too long for that loss. They will leave the market. When they leave the market, the supply curve shifts to the left. When the supply shifts to the left, the prices are going up. Now they are going back to making a normal profit. They won't make a loss anymore. This happens again in where? In your perfect market. Right, briefly describe the term non-price competition. It is competing on the basis of product differentiation, efficient services, and by using advertisement rather than on the basis of price. So it means that the business not using prices to compete. Why are we avoiding non-price? Why are we avoiding a price competition? Right, if you are mentioning price war, yes, we want to avoid price war because it's not beneficial to any business. It only means that the businesses producers are going to suffer, and us consumers are going to benefit because they'll be decreasing prices every day so that they can be the cheapest in the market. So for them to avoid that, they do what? They use other methods, advertising, door-to-door, giving loyalty points so that they can attract more market share. Right, we're going to move to your Longanyana question, which is 2.4 question. Without drawing graphs, compare demand curve of a perfect competitor and that of oligopoly. Right, so they said without graph. So I'm just gonna show you the graph. This is the perfect competitor. This is the demand curve. AR is equals to MR. So you're going to discuss this demand curve. And then for oligopoly, we have a kinked one where the D is equals to AR here. And then you find it that is relatively elastic. And then you find it here relatively inelastic. Relatively inelastic. So these are the demand curve that you're going to compare. Without drawing graphs, compare demand curve of a perfect competitor and that of oligopoly. So you're going to get 2 marks here for saying demand curve of perfect market, 2 marks for saying demand curve of oligopoly. So you're going to be given about 8 minutes to complete this task. Then we look at our marking guideline. Your time begins now. Right, grade 12, so let's look at our possible answers. For perfect competitor, we are discussing the demand curve. The demand curve is horizontal. You saw it is straightforward, is horizontal. All units are sold at the same price. So here, remember, there is price. So everything, if it's 2 rands, is sold at the same price. Doesn't matter how many quantities you are selling. The demand is the same as price. So this is price. Demand here is same as price, is same as MR, and is same as AR. So the demand is the same as marginal revenue and the average revenue. And the business is a price taker. Where do they take their prices? They take their prices from here. What is this? Is the market. Right? They take price from the market and they charge the same price that they take from the market. They are the price taker. They take their price from the market. Let's look at oligopoly. The demand for oligopoly, the demand curve for oligopoly is a kinked demand curve. All units are sold at different prices. Remember, it is a kinked demand curve. All these units here are sold what? At different prices. The demand curve lies below the MR curve. So here you'll have what? Your MR is not the same as here. Here D is equals to AR is equals to MR. However, with this one, the MR lies below and the demand lies above. And then they can ask you that, why does the MR in a monopolistic oligopoly lie below the AR? There are price makers. Each unit sold at a different price, so their marginal revenue won't be the same. So the marginal revenue will decrease as the prices are going down. The business is the price maker, right? So you can score marks for saying this points. Right, grade 12, we are moving to question 3. Question 3 is on economic issues. Question 2 is on what? Microeconomics. Now we are moving to the economic issues. Right, contemporary economic issues. Question 3, 3.1.1. Give 2 international agreement on disposal of chemical waste. Remember, we have an essay called International Problem, where you find loss of biodiversity, chemical waste, hazardous waste, loss of indigenous knowledge. For each problem, there were international agreements. There were protocols that we use in order to try to combine that situation, to fix that situation. So we're going to give the ones that we use for chemical waste. Right, you find the Stockholm Protocol. This is the one that you find on your essay. But then when you look at your book, you also have the Rotterdam Convention as part of an international agreement for chemical waste. The one that you are used for is the Stockholm Protocol. However, when you look at your textbook, you find that we have 2 of them. Right, 3.2. There's 3.2.1 to 3.2.3. You're going to look at the information there and you answer the question. Let's look at the first one. Identify attraction associated with ecotourism. Remember, they are coming here for the natural part of the country. And then number 2, mention any World Environment Heritage Site people can visit in South Africa. We have a lot of heritage site, but then now we are looking for what? Environmental heritage site. If they said mention any heritage site, world heritage site, then it's about 11 of them. But then the environmental one is about 3 of them in South Africa. Right. Briefly describe the term domestic tourism. Right, grade 12, we have 5 minutes, then we mark. Right, our time is up. Identify attraction associated with ecotourism on the picture there. Let's see. Right, you see your Springbok, you see your Big Five, right? That has to do with the natural part of our country, right? That is a natural part of our country, so it represents ecotourism. Mention any World Heritage Site that people can visit in South Africa. You have Isimangaliso Wetland Park, you have the Cape Province region, you have Ukhahlamba Drakensberg Park, right? So those are the environmental heritage sites, right? So if it was just World Heritage, you could have mentioned a few of them. Cradle of Humankind, you have a few of them. 3.2.3, briefly describe the term domestic tourism. When people travel within the borders of their country. International tourism is outside the borders of the country, and then you have inbound, those who are coming in, outbound when you go visit somewhere else. Right, let's go to 3.3. So you're going to look at the extract and answer the questions. 3.3.1, identify the guests that contribute most to the emission in South Africa from the extract. Give an example of biodiversity. Remember, we're talking about species and different types of species of animals and plants. So you can give an example of those. Briefly describe greenhouse gases. Right, so because you have to read an extract there, you'll be given 8 minutes to complete the task. Then you look at your marking guideline. Right, grade 12, let's look at our answers. Identify the gases that contribute most to emission in South Africa from the extract. Carbon dioxide, that you find it from the extract, you just take it from the extract. Give an example of biodiversity. Blue whales, white-tailed deer, white pine trees, sunflowers, and any other relevant one. If you think that is part of our animals and plants, you may raise your hand. It may be correct. Briefly describe the term greenhouse gases. Gases in the Earth atmosphere that traps the heat. Those who are doing geography, you are more familiar with the greenhouse gases. Right, let's move to a middle order question, 3.4. It says, discuss the negative effect of soil erosion on the environment. Soil erosion being removal of soil at a greater volume than it's formed. That is soil erosion. How would that affect the environment? This question can even come and ask the effect of soil erosion to agricultural product. Right, so it makes that land is not good enough to give us food. Then the agricultural businesses may find it difficult to grow those plants, right? So let's look at this one. Discuss the negative effect of soil erosion on the environment. Right, grade 12, I'll give you about 8 minutes to write 4 full sentences. Right, so this one, it will be 4 times 2. You need to write 4 full sentences. Right, so your time will begin now. Then you begin the marking guideline. You have 8 minutes. Right, grade 12, let's look at our marking guideline. Discuss the negative effect of soil erosion on the environment. Soil erosion occurs when the top soil is removed by wind or water. Remember, we said it's when soil is being removed at a greater volume than is formed. And once it's been removed, it is non-renewable. It leads to an increase in pollution in streams and rivers. It is a major threat to sustainability as it affects the soil fertility. It degrades the land and often makes it less productive. It may result in destruction of water sources such as dams. Soil erosion destroys the grazing land for animals, and it can also result in what our trees into deforestation, because our trees don't have a proper soil to stand on. So that is another point that you can have there on the environment, impact on the environment. And again here also, any other relevant answer that is answering on what negative impact of soil erosion on the environment. When we speak of environment, it's talking about everything that we have that is from the nature, right? We may speak about that to answer this question. Right, grade 12. So we looked at both microeconomics question 2 and economic issues. We looked at those questions where we say it's easy to score marks. So imagine these are your 2 data response questions that you are answering. There's not much of thinking there. The only thing that you do there is to remember the information from the classroom. That is your 2.1.1, you just listing 2.2.2, you are listing also, and 2.2.3, then that is where you are describing. Your 3.4 and 2.4 also is more of remembering information. Right, so on your question paper, you have your section A, that is your 30 marks. Always try to master this one. Don't guess. You make sure that you read and you understand, you choose the correct answer. Usually you are having 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and then from 1 to 4, that is microeconomics. From 5 to 8, that is your economic issues. Same here, 4 of them is economic issues, 4 is microeconomics. Here, 3 is issues, 3 is there, your microeconomics. Then when it comes to this 2 to 4, please ensure that if it's difficult, you know at least one main topics. And when it comes to section C, you need to carry that 30 marks to the classroom. You need to know your introduction, conclusion, and the body for all the 6 essays that we have mentioned in priority. If you don't get to the essay number 6, but at least 3 of them you know, and 1 of them may come. But then to be safe, you need to know all 6 of them. Right, grade 12, thank you so much for joining in today's class. I will see you next time. Keep well.